And thank you very much for joining me. For those of you that are celebrating the numerical new year, congratulations, this is your year. And for those of us that are celebrating by the ancient tides, by the equinox and the solstice, I suppose happy January. If you believe in the 12th month system, this is the first month. So if you're also a numerologist of sorts, I suppose that would probably affect you as well. But if you're no longer working with these blueprints, congratulations on yet another wave of information coming from, I suppose, a bunch of us in the astrological community. So thank you very much. Okay, so no matter how you see the world, no matter what your cosmovision or belief system is, it is just time. It's just one of those times. We've had a very beautiful conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in December on the 21st, conjunct solstice, which is a factual event in the sky, very important time for us. And yes, for some people, it is the beginning of a new tide and a new marking of time. And yes, I have to say that I probably would believe it too. I have experienced many global changes in my world over the past coming weeks, building up to this event. And also now, as it's starting to fade, as Jupiter is drifting off further than Saturn, further on into Aquarius, yes, we definitely do have a very, very surprising turn of events for some, and a very nice clarity of mind for others at least. So it does feel to me that no matter if your changes are physical, biological, spiritual, or just energetic for now, there are new things happening for all of us, and I trust that this is going to bring about a phase that could probably be seen as part of the new earth or the new world. So if you are a believer and you feel that we have crossed dimensions and we've gone into a new functionality within our own beliefs and spiritual systems, and also within our own worlds or within our own ways, then yes, there is a huge shift in consciousness, and I do trust that this is one of those times to probably say it, like call it, yeah, there was a shift. And we indeed have a very interesting changing of tides. So a little bit about January. So I have these two charts in front of me for the beginning and the ending of January. And I have to say that the feeling that I'm getting is that it's just got to go. There are certain systems and certain people that are still lingering around us that we know have to go. There are certain places in our minds or in physicality that we're visiting or revisiting again and again that we know are just no longer even a thought. So, like there are sometimes these dense calluses that we have in life. It's kind of like a feeling of a callus. It's like no matter how much you touch it or rub it, it still feels very dense. So it feels to me that there's lots of things that we as people do because we're creatures of habit, and also because we would like to share time. So sometimes, though time inside of us has changed meaning, we sometimes may choose to go with a similar path or similar history simply because it feels more robust. So showing up at the same places, seeing the same kinds of people, doing the same kind of work, participating in the same kind of phenomena. And that is not maybe that real to us anymore, but we just do it because of reason, out of reason. So because of the reasons that we have created in the past, we still visit that person in our mind or in physicality, or we still participate in certain situations. I believe that that is no longer economical for us. So it feels to me that the belief system of the global overall is starting to change, and it also feels to me that no matter how much we try, there is a lot of quicksand happening around us. So there's a malleability that I feel many of us can afford. So what I mean is sometimes time, with this very brand new feeling as Saturn has walked into Aquarius, and also later on followed by Venus very close by, and crossed by Mercury and Jupiter. This is like a very interesting time where we ask of ourselves maybe forgiveness for the previous ways in which we have seen reality, the previous waves of rigidity that we have chosen instead of malleability. we're starting to test this new ground or this new bottom line that we have drawn for ourselves. And sometimes this is one of the most beautiful experimental times. So what I mean here is that reality might not have enough potential for you in some ways. So perhaps, the place you're going has no meaning. Perhaps there's very little audience for what you're creating, or there's very little heart in what you're doing, and still trying to be part of. So if you are knocking, especially on the door that hasn't been open for ages, please forget it. And try to enjoy the malleability of reality that we are having now. It's kind of like a chemistry set. We are walking into Aquarius this month. So to me, it is a very, very pure and very, very significant time to test the bottom line and to understand what is real and what is true for you now, and also how reality works. So here we basically get to enjoy this opportunity cycle that comes through experimentation alone. So experimentation with your inner self, experimentation in what you're doing and how you're using your voice and how you're using sound if you're a musician, how you're using your words, and what you say and do with certain people. Also, big patterns can change. Sometimes we have a certain type of robust pattern or feeling about something or somebody, and we cannot step out of that pattern. But here we have a very interesting manifestation. I mean, we have a huge shift of escrow in the ego, and it feels to me that we can no longer expect certain situations or positions to occur in our lives. And to me, that is great. I mean, it is great. So we can now perhaps tell or like hope to see that there are no longer rigid patterns. So for example, if you think, every time I approach this kind of person, I always get shot down, or every time I have experiences with this type of like person or people, I always feel disappointment or neglect. Sorry, stuttering a little. But it feels to me that sometimes you can achieve a completely different result from a timeline that you have somehow chosen to expect something from. So for example, if you have a certain karma with a parent, if you have a certain karma with a friend, if you have a certain karma in your belief system also, and a lot of karmas are there due to a belief system or rigid beliefs basically that we have chosen to become like, or we have chosen to program into our field. And the thing that I'm seeing for a lot of you guys now is understanding that with a very, very little effort, with very, 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 very little pull or push, you can now redetermine the ways in which things sit. So in the way that people approach you, in the way that life turns things around for you, in a way that reality manifests or decomposes. And that is the beauty of Aquarius this year. And also this is the beauty of our timeline right now in Capricorn, because it is going to be a very interesting process to see it all come together and decompose all at once sometimes. And we now, I suppose, are getting wiser. We're no longer holding on to the previous sets, the chemistry sets, to the previous results, to the previous ways in which we have played it, and the previous outcomes of the previous laws and systems that we have set ourselves or shown ourselves to be true. So it feels to me that anything from, how you see the world, how you see money, how you talk about yourself, how you see your significant others, how you approach dating, how you approach family, community, it is all starting to become a global mess right now, I think, actually, for quite a few of us, and also for many who can see with wisdom past that need for result. These are very interesting and beautiful waves that can commence a completely new set of life, new set of skills, new set of intentions, new set of people, completely new phenomenal results can be made and achieved out of nothing. When you look at your life as a soup, you look at your life as a stew, and you're wondering if you're one of those people right now, how the hell am I gonna pull anything out of this? Like, how am I going to get the best out of this concoction? Also, we have the last month of rat now. And you see, I've talked about this for a while. Be careful who and what you choose during this year. And also now is a good time for discernment. And some of us have packed our world full of unworthy things. And why are they unworthy things? Is because they don't bring us anything, but they were shining at the time. So it feels like maybe it's not for you, right? Because for some people, this is a very, very incredible feat right now, and a scary feat, a scary exercise to start pulling out the weeds of the previous life. So like the last year and also the next year to come really depend on us seeing husk and grain for what they are. And they don't just mean that. I mean, we need to now see through our need for occasional toxicity or drama or trauma. Like, we have to really see the beauty, the fidelity, and the rainbow colors, or the dark colors, the drab colors of what we're choosing for ourselves. And the main reason that we have to see ourselves now, how we are going to, function, and what is going to be, is how the soup of life that you have put yourself into by this stage of rat go. Like, how does it go? What are the colors and the flavors that you've chosen for your soup of life? Because why? Rat is a forager, rat is a scavenger, rat is a seeker. And sometimes what it amounts to at the end of itself is where ox then goes and where ox then leads us. And some of it can be obstruction. So, for example, frivolous friends or activities, personalities you didn't have to undertake, things that you didn't have to swallow or take, substances you didn't have to participate with, anything like that. Anything that you kind of can now tell you have found in the last year or so that has not brought you anything, please know it. And also especially people and environments and experiences and things that actually have brought you pain. So when you're looking at your life right now, one of the easiest things to see is how things have gone. And also, why would you still participate with certain people or events in your actual life? And it feels to me that at the beginning of this month, we already have a very interesting stellium here in Capricorn, a very beautiful Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, especially Jupiter, like marching right into the 2nd degree here. It's just such a gorgeous, phenomenal energy to say, wait. I don't really need like half of this stuff. Or like, dude, like, I don't really want to go this way. And we're all kind of there. There's got to be at least one or two components in your life that you've found over the last time that has just been peculiar for you. And this is the thing, is sometimes we can pick up into our life something or somebody that is shiny for us, and we don't really consider the greater repercussions or results, or the way that it fits into our sequence is too intimidating to really see. So for example, you might have a couple of friends that are wasting your time, but because it is so juicy to have found them, it is hard to imagine that they could inevitably disintegrate your life. So it's kind of like a horn of plenty that ox really vibrates as already by now. I believe that some people already are feeling that oxen edge. So we have a year of ox, golden ox, coming after the year of the rat. And what we might now understand, what we might see and feel, is how it is making us become. What are we becoming? What is the becoming beneath or above all of this that we have found and learned in rat? So rat is this very frivolous energy. It's very, very unique in a way that it can waste time and then, hop realities and join the dots and experiment, and really also leave things in rubble as well if things are done too quickly or without taste. So it's kind of like a certain formula that needs to now come up to the surface. And for a lot of people who are, teachers, who are practitioners, who are givers of peace, who are parts of this new tremendous shift in reality, we have to really realize that when we are teaching people and when we are healing one another, we have got to really see ourselves for who we are and be proud and have our feet very, very steadily on the ground with that which we present to ourselves and to others in our lives. And also, when you have found something or somebody hopeful during this time, please understand that which it fits for other people as well. So this is a very, I suppose, weird way of saying this, but also understand how it fits with the global truths as well as your personal truths. And this is where you understand addiction versus the collective, how can I say, the collective good. Like, how do you know if something that you have gathered is frivolous, and if something that you have gathered in the last few years, maybe even, is worthy? And how do you know is because it is also part of the common now. So I know this is something that a lot of people frown upon, and we do live in a separatist culture in the West, and a culture that says, well, if it makes me happy, then, you know, why the hell would I care? Or like, why is it anybody else's business? You know, like, nobody can tell me I've got like a certain addiction or a certain frivolous experience, and my choices are not real. And yes, in a way, it sort of also has to work with the overall geometry of where we're going as a species. And I've talked about this since Pig Year, maybe even earlier, since Dog actually, about how it's no longer my picture, my choice, my life. It's a collective mirror, and it has a collective undertow. And the thing is, Ox is going to be very painful for us if we are not yet able to transmit that overall feeling and to be part of a certain type of globality and a current truth for all people important. And we also have to be responsible. So sometimes at the end of Rat, people can fall into a slumber, or they can give and take with the wrong people, they can become part of an addictive cycle, or they can enjoy something or somebody in their life that is just addiction. And what we have to now understand, okay, I'm really serious with you now, okay, is that overall picture also counts. So like what you're providing to other people, how you're contributing to society, yeah, but also the overall. And some of the time we people can have a lot of damage that we have to cope with in our lives later on in time, since we have chosen things only for a selfish reason or a very disrespectful reason to ourselves. And all of us are on different pages with this. You know, some people say, you know, who are you to tell me that, like, say, my weed addiction is a bad thing? Like, who are you to tell me that my desire for love with multiple people is a bad thing? What are you saying to me? But like, what I'm basically trying to say is that when we're facing Ox, okay, and also please consider this Tiger Year after Ox, okay, we have to really be on our feet, strong, to be able to fight this. Okay, so when we're facing Ox, we've got to really realize how we fill out, you know, like when you look at your life, how will it fill out in the future? How have you progressed so far? Did you wake up? Did you evolve? Did you generate more for yourself? Can you stand your ground? Can you believe in yourself enough, you know, to be who you are comfortably? Mind, body, spirit. Can you be honest? You know, can you, how can I say, feel out the greater truths and the greater, bigger pictures that you'd like to share now with the world? Is there something that you have as a mastery that you'd like to share? Is there somebody in your life that is true and robust and perhaps will last you a long, long time? Maybe there are some things or some reasons in which people are going to maybe go wrong with you. Maybe there are some feelings like of animosity, or there's certain people or places you cannot stand, or there's certain type of income you cannot generate. So like all disability aside, I think a disability in our world, you know, in our lives, shows a certain type of discourse with yourself that you shouldn't have had. So you see, I won't get into this too far, but we have to kind of like understand now how to regenerate those nice beautiful fruits, those nice beautiful shoots, see where the ground is feeding us, where we are strong upon it, and also what types of facts and learnings has generated that we can actually leave behind and keep and teach another person, vibrate throughout our whole lives. And also have to say that in terms of the Oxen year coming, we have to know what we are putting out, output. So see, right year was input. Okay, eat as much as you like, party wherever you want, try this, try that, different methods of healing, different ideas and understandings, different realities, okay? That was a great karma-free time for most people to try it out. and just to say, look, like say polyamory is not for me, or like for example, just say, okay, eating all of that food was not good for me. Okay, like we have to basically now realize what are the main baselines, the main sort of orderly cause and effects that we'd like to perfect, and also bring back into our families. And sometimes with the oxen year, it's also about teaching and showing another. And also, yes, I have to say, family is an expanded one now. It's a global family. It's a global home. It's not just mom and dad and you sisters and your brothers. It's a more than that. And Peg, we did have to consider our actual global formula based upon our genetic predispositions and genetic experiences. But here we are. Come Ox, welcome the Aquarian shoot. And I trust we do now have to understand that this is beyond what we have previously fathomed, but who you are, what you bring, what you champion, who you have been also, and what you have become has got to now make matter. Okay, so things solidify. It's like platonic solids, red is a time of concept and illusion to a degree, and the platonic solids really come through, really do come through in Ox this year. So we have got to understand that all these concepts and all these perhaps frivolous parties or ideas or semi-temporary lives or experiences that we could have all shared together have got to now come to an overall. So like when you're mixing colors on a palette, okay, and you put them together, multiple color schemes, multiple dabbles, dabbles of paint, and you first start meeting them together, and they become like marbled, and you can see each one separate. Now, the consistency of Ox is important. We're now going to create this one solid color out of all of those different ingredients gathered in red. So what is the color of you? Perfect Aquarian time. What is the color? What is the color of your life? What is the flavor of your experience? What is the joining connection? What is the overall theme? And that which you are now tribally championing. And it feels to me that for a lot of people, it will be just one of those years where there'll be 5 or 6 things about you that stand out, and they stand up and they say, hey, look at me. So, for example, if you love sport, if you have a very beautiful art gallery, if you enjoy children, if you love your own kids, if you love helping other people with their family lives, if you love to cook, if you love to eat, if you love to travel, if you love to enjoy, if you have a huge heart, if you believe in Allah, if you trust in the universe, if you believe in quantum science instead, or if you just really trust yourself, it'll all start to become a very beautiful scheme. But because we're sometimes a little bit drunk by the end of red, and we don't want to see the colors that we've chosen to mix together, we don't want to see the people that we've chosen to be part of, we want to believe something greater than what we are, and sometimes an addiction can really slip past us, or like that bad person can slip us by. But the main thing basically is now not to gather all the sand, it's got gold nuggets in it. Just pick out those gold nuggets, and if you can, please try to survive this, okay? Because we have a very huge ego peak by the end of the month. Jupiter Sun conjunction, Mercury gone past, Saturn approaching, Venus conjunct Pluto, like huge ego boost by the end of the month, as many of us don't want to believe that we've done the wrong thing. Many of us don't want to see the true picture here, and we can't fathom, later on why things have gone wrong, why things have become toxic, why we've lost time or money or ambition or energy, because we have been afraid to see who and what we are around. Now, the main thing here is to understand where you are, okay, and how you are presenting. Lighten up about this as well. Sometimes not a lot can lead to a much bigger, worthier purpose later on. So the wondrous thing about this time this last part of rat is that a little grain can make a tree, like a little grain, a little seed can make a big bush. So why this is important is simply because at this point in time, I think people may not believe in the proportionality of that which they hold. Sometimes it is a very interesting thing. So, for example, you have only one book on Buddhism. This is just an example, not for everyone, but for some. You have only one book on Buddhism, okay? But that book can start a lifetime of dreams. This can be travel, this could be love, this could be a relationship, this could be a project, this could be a temple, this could be teaching people something, yeah? But like that book might not be much to you now, but consider that's your seed, okay? For example, some people have more than ever, Tinder, okay? People on Tinder, okay, exercising their free will in this way. Okay, all these people. Now, it seems like a big bunch of experiences, big bunch of dates, big bunch of exercising your will, and probably not the most proactive way, but with just one click of a button, with just one delete, click of a button, you can cut out a huge method of life and start to learn anew. And there's nothing wrong with shifting out, cutting out big things. And I also have to tell you, because Aquarius is very, very strong and wise this particular year, it is one of the most beautiful times for a humble new beginning. And I also trust this is one of the most gorgeous years ahead for saying, no, fluff it all, I'm going to start again. So if you're now waiting for that change, it's very, very hard to see the truth. It's very hard to see the purpose here for all of us if we are not able to be faithful to the greater galactic choice. So for example, cheating on your husband is a tormenting experience. Doing things behind people's back is difficult. Making money from unfaithful or untrue means is not possible anymore. Giving advice to the wrong person is not going to help you. Being at home alone all the time without integrating into any part of society is toxic for anybody, for any person. Most people shouldn't have that in their lives at all. And such. So, see that there are these global things, like, for example, eating a lot of dairy is going to give you bloating, gas, candida, and other things, Eating a lot of meat is going to create obstructions in your stomach. There are certain things, that are just science, perhaps. They're just common truth. Like, for example, a person should not be alone all their life, Or, why would you... encounter many people promiscuously. Rat can sometimes have a very mischievous side, and some of us might be caught in a net by the end. Okay, so sometimes we don't want to see, and it's hardest to see the ego during this time, and it's very, very hard to say no or commit during this time, simply because rat doesn't like you sometimes seeing what you have used to cover the gaps in your world. So, for example, there might be a part of you that says, no, I don't believe you. I don't think that watching Netflix every day, all day is gonna be a destructive mechanism. I don't believe that, cheating on my husband is a big deal because he said this and that. I don't trust that, eating lots of sugar and lots of olives and cheese and crackers and things, all at once is going to give me gas and indigestion. I don't believe you. There are some ways in which we also mask, the truth. It's like sometimes the easy way out is just to see the global phenomenon that is happening in your life. And sometimes it could be one overall thing that is now easy to cure or easy to hold and easy to handle, at the same time as it's something masking it. So, for example, you might have achieved mastery as an athlete. You might have a huge following. You might have a really good way of life, but something about you wants to smoke marijuana and chill out all day and like, you know, sit in the jacuzzi and meet different people. And what that is about is because you can't handle the fact that you have mastered yourself, you have mastered your psyche, you have mastered your energy in your physical form. And some of us don't want to learn about these larger businesses, larger ideas, these large, huge, ginormous blessings that are standing behind each seed and each even tiny, like a tiny hope that sometimes red can fully bring out now. It's almost like the sponge for many of us is squeezed to the limit. So, you know, I was talking about things coming to the surface and things being no longer appropriate because, you know, they've been under the surface, or things becoming super appropriate and super real, and just they were lost in translation or stagnation somewhere along the way. So now in the red, I mean, here the sponge is fully squeezed, and whatever was inside now is probably truly on the surface now. And we have to be okay and be without regret for the fact that it is easy for, I believe, most of this configuration, I think is easy for most of the way in which things now work and function to really hollow out your world. And then by the end of the right year, you know, as we head towards the 31st of January, we've got to really know, what is the story being told? You know? So, yeah, I mean, why not? Like, say, as I'm aging, I'm understanding that, for example, my time is limited, and like what I do a lot is work. This is just an example. And I'm getting a lot of clients, and I'm sorry if you're watching this and you have booked a reading with me. I have like quite the waiting list at the moment. And then also there is something inside me that doesn't want to work anymore. It just wants to like run into the green and love itself and all of it, you know. And yes, I've been singing, making music, and I have a band now here in Peru that I have been active in for a while, and we perform every second, third day. And it's been a fantastic phenomenon in my life to finally fully be able to sing and be heard and make sounds that I've always made. But see, like the reason for this is not because I really wanted to do this. It's just one day something inside me couldn't hold on anymore, and I couldn't hold myself down inside, you know, at the computer any longer. And there are parts of me that are also frivolous with this, and I do understand I'm rebelling against the system that I've myself created. But like, this is one of those times also, you know. And I do have to say that many of us will consider a complete shift and a complete overhaul of our previous systems. But the thing is, I've got to ask you, what is the story? What is the story being told, and how to hold it all together without control? You know, it's difficult for me as well, you know, like, say, changing lives, changing paths, going down the road of medicine and art, you know, and music and sound and community, rather than achieving digitally. So like, that's like something that I have to also consider again and again. So we have to understand, what is the story being told through my lifetime, and who do I become in each breath of my life? Not just in front of people, not just a story that they tell me that I am. It's more than that. It's more like the fidelity of the overall extremes sometimes also that red can bring out in us. And overall, I believe that this road is going to be very open for us should we consider it. If you are on the path, if you have a trajectory, if you're now like accepting, for example, Christian beliefs, or if you are now starting to study computer science, or you are deciding to be the gypsy and, you know, run around the world, no matter what it means, I'm just kind of like seeing that even if it's a bad story, even if it's a weird story, even if it's a computer screen for the rest of your life, there are going to be parts of us that will give us that if we are pushing that button continuously. So here I'm going to ask you, please don't push that button. There are lots of us, you know, not knowing sometimes which way. And the reason is because we've been pushing that button so many times, like, say, I need to be the leader, I need to be the leader, I need to be the leader, or I need to be a consumer, I need to be a consumer, I need to be a consumer. And the thing is, because of the changing of tides and the changing of age, is to also let it fly and not be so afraid anymore. So this is what I ask of you as creator, are you creator as well? We need to understand what is our story now, and what is that beautiful color and flavor that we want to breathe life into within our world. What is that flavor? What is that rainbow? Like, what is that goofy new blueprint? What is that taste? What is that smell that we want more than ever before, maybe? So that's something I think we need to consider. Okay, thank you very much. I will now go on to connecting with all the traditional zodiac signs. Yes, I did drop the little fact there that we have 13 moons in the year, so we have 13 signs in a year. But, you know, because I try to keep things general, and they do work for most people, I hope that you like the 12 signs that I put up on Patreon. I do want to do something different. I would like to maybe change this, but I do understand that there is a genuine interest and need in a 12 sign system, and I don't want to confuse anybody, because there's also not many databases and people out there working with a 13th sign, Orpheus, potentially. So thank you very much. I will now do a marathon for all of you. And if you are interested, please check out my Patreon page. Also, if you want to, you can still purchase the 2021 ALMANAC in digital or physical form. Well worth it. It's a good little read, and it also will bring you greater things, I trust, in the months to come. I also have to say, I have great results for predicting year ahead for people. I now have a huge list of readings for people predicting their year. If you'd like, I really don't have any space, but if you'd like one of those readings, potentially I will mention it in a later prognosis when I have a window for these. And also, yes, Almanac predicts every week, and also breaks down every few days at a time to give an overall view of the energy and how it works in the sky. So it's all channeled information. It's very precious to me. I have to say that it's become a mastery, and I was in denial about it for such a long time, but here it is, channeled astrology. So if you would like to know everything about the global connection and the global energetic outcomes for the next year, 2021, please click on the link below and purchase yourself a little almanac. Why not save the trees and just buy a digital copy and get it straight away? So thank you very much. Hope you had fun. I hope that, you know, for those celebrating the new year, that you have a very safe and straightforward time ahead, because it's a Capricorn season. It's so funny for celebration. But yes, it means something to me too, just because it means something to you. You know, because for some people this really means something, brings tears to their eyes and a feeling. It also means something to me. So thank you very much. I hope you have a meaningful time. I hope you had meaningful Christmas. I hope you had meaningful experiences, and that they are enough to fulfill and sustain you for the rest of your year. Thank you, enjoy, and I'll see you next time. And for those on Patreon, thank you so much for joining me. Please enjoy your sign. I will do my best. The sun is going down. I will do my best. Thank you. Bye.